Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. Today we're making a recap for the past two trading days. I didn't make a video on Friday because I actually didn't end up trading on Friday. I didn't see anything that was of high interest to me or any play that essentially that I was interested in trading. So no trades placed on Friday. Now it's Monday. Today was there was some activity in the market right off the bat. I'll go ahead and show you guys and gals, whoever's tuning into these. So I had two trades today. I feel like that's my average. I'm placing two trades or trading a couple different stocks per day when I do trade. The first one was UAVS, which I ended up taking a loss here, as you can see, $156 loss. So UAVS kind of ran a few days ago, spiking right here on the 14th, kind of came down. Today in the morning, I saw this thing gapping up, and essentially it was going for the breakout right here in the 480s, a technical breakout. So this is a stock that has ran a lot in the past. I remember seeing this. UAVS was back in COVID times. Look at back in COVID. It says 17,000. They probably had a bunch of reverse splits, so that wasn't the actual price. But yeah, in 2020 and 2021, this was one of those really popular stocks. So whenever this thing kind of gets some volume and just gets moving, there's still a lot of people that remember it. So they'll want to just trade some of the price action. That being said, though, it is a very sketchy company. A lot of times when they run, they just have some random news. The company just wants to get some money, so they'll pump up the stock and obviously dump some of those shares on the folks that end up buying in. So this morning, I saw this thing coming up. I saw it in pre-market what it was around here in the 460s, 450s, kind of fighting this price. And I saw 380 being a significant level, so I started building into my position. Around here in the 430s, and I added initially with my risk being down in the 380s, and right out at the open is actually ended up breaking out from that 480 level, went all the way up to the 520s, and then just kind of quickly rejected on that price. Right here I wanted to kind of give it some space. We can look at the 1 minute charts. I wanted to give it some space just for it to work out. I did end up adding a bit more of size to it, so I didn't want to increase my risk too much. So at one point I had around 700 shares of this stock in the 460s area. So right around the support right here, 460. I obviously moved my risk up because I did not want to risk the 380 anymore. If I would have risked the 380 level, which I had initially started with, that's risking like $500. I obviously do not want to risk that amount of size on this type of play. Honestly, at this point, especially with the account that I'm trading with right now, $500 risk is just absolutely insane on one trade. So I actually ended up moving up my risk to the 430s, 440 area. That being that in pre-market, that was kind of like the level that was, these levels right here holding. That one was more of in a way, a subjective level, just being that I wanted to give it some space, but not too much. If this was going to work out, in order for me to feel comfortable in this trade, the way that I trade, I wanted this to kind of, be a little quicker, being that it moved a significant amount in a short amount of time in pre-market. So that gives me, kind of the idea that if this moves, it's going to move quick, either to the upside or to the downside. I don't want to stick around too long. I've seen this trade in the past. So again, that's the way that I traded it. right here in this area was kind of holding the 60s level, and as soon as it rejected here, I started feeling kind of uncomfortable. It rejected even more to the low 415s. At this point, and this is something you do not want to do when you're trading, I started selling actually in these levels just to make sure that this thing didn't take a crap on me, and I ended up, taking a bigger loss than I wanted. And it came down to the 415s. Right here, I was feeling a little bit uneasy, bounced back into the 450s a couple times, and pretty much in this consolidation, I was selling out of my position. I kind of really gave up on the trade. I just wanted to get it as higher to my initial entry or my average in the 460s as possible. I ended up getting all out, which, as you can see, was a great idea because this thing came all the way down to the 360s. I ended up taking as you saw, a $160 loss on that. Nothing too crazy. The average was in around 441. My average for my exits, and I kind of just left it on the back pedal for the rest of the day. As you can see right now, this thing is actually holding this area. It's around 4 right now, even after hours. So it's actually still kind of in play. This is a little bit, it did have some news about the company being invited to the White House, as you can see right here, for discussion on commercial unmanned aerial vehicles. So they're probably selling some stuff to our military. Who knows what the heck's going on there, if that's actually true. But I'm playing price action right here. So if this holds above that 380 level right here, which I actually had drawn a line on, if it holds above this area, that kind of gives us a signal that this still has strength. It's still up in its highs, so it still has a potential to run. So I'm gonna keep watching it for tomorrow and see what happens. And the second trade that I had was on QMMM, this random company. It's actually a Chinese company, and this thing is in Hong Kong. These are super sketchy. You do not want to trust these, especially for a long-term investment. Those are like complete red zone. But I've played these many times before, where you have a stock, this thing was trading around $7, $8, even up in the 9s the past few days. No, even higher than that. But today this thing was just taking a shit, gapping down. I kind of saw it when it was around this area. I didn't want to guess a bottom like I tried doing in one of my recaps from one of my other trades. Maybe some of you remember that video. So right here, when it had this bounce, I thought about getting in. It ended up bouncing from pretty much like the $2 area, high 90s, to the 260s, which that's a good 30% bounce. But I didn't end up getting in, so I just watched it come back down to that level. And pretty much around this area right here, came down a little bit more. And once it stopped halting, these types of plays, they're quick plays, and you kind of want to get as close as possible to the bottom in order for you to have a good risk. I started building into my position with the idea of actually bouncing this back into VWAP, the volume weighted average price, which is this line right here, or this 260s level right here, which was a previous resistance from the bounce that I had after all the halt downs. So I ended up getting pretty much building into my position right here with 750 shares of this stock with a $1.99. Well, actually even up into this area I was adding with a $1.99 average. So I have 750 shares, a $1.99 average. And then pretty much in this area, when it started hitting the 240s, I started selling, just being that this area right here from 240 to 260, 270 was the main kind of resistance, even close to VWAP around that time. So I started selling out in the 240s. I think I got some sells. The high is up at around 250. And I slowly kind of started scaling out. And to be honest with this one, I had been on my computer for a while already at this point. And I wanted to fully exit out. I was going to give it some time to go and see if this ran into the 260s, 270s, but I actually ended up just taking whatever profit I had around the 240s, which ended up being a good idea because, as you can see right here, it pretty much rejected that price and it came way back down. Who knows what the heck is going to happen with this tomorrow? It's going to be interesting. Maybe I'll recap it for the next day. Because these types of companies, I believe, are doing just like a liquidation. They start taking money out, and then next thing you know, this thing is at like 50 cents, and the next thing you know, it's not even in the market anymore. So these Chinese companies, super sketchy. Sometimes they'll give you these this one was a smaller bounce. I've seen these come all the way down and then bounce all the way back up to the price that they came from. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. You don't want to take too much size with these. You want to be very careful and have a very tight risk if possible, or if you're going to get into the trade, because it can just keep going down and you can take some hefty losses. I've experienced those many times in the past, and that's why I tell you that. Learn from my experience with this stuff. So that trade right there ended up being $277, almost $300 gain, which put me at $120 green for the day. Obviously, this trade right here kind of set that, went a little bit back, but that's ideally how you want to trade, having your wins being larger than your losses. And that's how you are profitable at the end of the day. Those ended up being the only two trades that I took. I'm not really going to watch QMMM to trade it again. I think this is just like a one and done type of play, as opposed to UAVS, which is still kind of in play. BTCT, I traded this last week or earlier this week. It's still kind of in play right here. Ideally, I would want this to come down into like the 10s, even $9 area, which would be the support and resistance areas from the first day that this ran, which was last week. And I would try to place for a bounce, for like a first green day bounce. So this is also one of my top watches. I want to see what it does tomorrow. Ideally, it keeps coming down. I want to see it come down more, at least, if not for another day, another 2 days. And then from there, we'll probably have a sweet bounce on that. HCWB traded 500 million shares today. Very super halty and choppy, as you can see right here. All these little dots means that the stock was halted. I didn't even want to get into this, being that it came from the 30 cents, had a nice pullback. Tomorrow this can either just continue crapping out, there's no trade on there, or it can hold and then it could have some more juice. So we're just gonna see it and be on standby. I don't have a specific plan on that just yet. We'll see how it reacts. MBST kind of coming down. Maybe if it comes down enough down here into the 40s, try to play for first green day type of play. We'll see. DJT, Trump Media Technology stock. This stock had been pretty slow for a few days, pretty much most of this week, and then just randomly at the end of today. There's no way of predicting these types of plays, so getting in here anywhere here is kind of just playing a gamble. I think they had some news. Talks to acquire crypto trading venue, backed a trading venue. I don't know where the heck that is, but obviously the stock reacted very positively as it went from being in the mid 26s all the way to the high 33s. Right now it's around 31. So we'll see what this does tomorrow. Obviously this type of stock just kind of trades off of the hype, that is tied to Trump. And, I think any news that they put out, any positive news, is going to have this type of reaction, either being inside traders or people who hear about it, just get all excited and start buying it, bringing the price up. So for me personally, again, I don't really have a plan on this yet. We'll see what it does tomorrow, if it continues to run, or, if this is just a one and done. Tomorrow probably comes back down to the same price that it was. We'll see. SMCI, if you've been seeing the previous videos, you would see that I also traded this stock last week, and kind of, funky action today as well. It gapped up a little bit pre-market on Friday. Today it was kind of hanging around those prices. Came up, came down, came up, slammed all the way down again, and then after hours is going all crazy. These guys have some news too. They're filing to meet the compliance with NASDAQ so they can continue trading in the NASDAQ. So that's why it's having these types of prices. A friend of mine sent me some stuff about how this stock was going to be trading in the OTC market. So I don't know what's going on with them. Also don't have a plan because this type of price action is, just super choppy. So I don't want to get caught on either side. Right here, if I look at it, probably a play. I don't even look at it honestly until later in the day. But I probably here in hindsight, I would have tried trading it somewhere down here, seeing that it held that low of the day or that open price. I probably would have tried holding this literally until like close or end of the day, and I probably would have got stuck in this like fucking bloodbath right here. Not bloodbath, I mean it just dropped like $2, but it pretty much gave back most of the gains that I had throughout the day, and then after hours just comes right back up. I would have got chopped up in this trade. I know myself, and I'm glad I actually didn't see it because that probably would have been frustrating. That's pretty much a recap for today, y'all. Again, small green day, up $120. As I mentioned in previous days, right now my plan is just to be very careful with what I'm trading. There's a lot of things going on, which could be a good and a bad thing because it takes your attention from ideal good trades, because there's so much moving that it could be like, oh, let me trade this, let me trade that. It's easy to overtrade or lose focus because I'm trying to trade something that could be like a mediocre play, and then I end up missing another good play. So right now, when the market starts getting a little bit busier, especially in the winter months, November through March, April historically are busier months in the markets. One, you want to be really dialed in and tuned into the market, setting time aside to trade in the mornings. But you also want to be careful with what you're trading, because it's easy to, just get overly excited and just get into things because things are running. Kind of like UAVS today, where I was like, well, this thing is going to break out, and then it kind of just fails, and then you get chopped around. Tomorrow probably comes back up, and you're like, what's going on? But that's that. I just want to leave you guys with that. Like usual, I'm going to be putting these recaps most of the month, and then just creating some different type of content or shorter recaps moving forward. If you guys are interested in this kind of stuff, leave some comments, shoot me some text on what type of content you would like to see. If not, then I'm going to just continue creating stuff, see who it helps. Personally, it helps me a lot going through my trades at the end of the day, and I've seen from some people that have commented that actually helps them too. Whether that you're new to it or that you already have some experience just learning from others from different levels, whether that be more advanced than you or at a lower level, you could say. It always helps gain the perspective from other fellow traders, because there's a million different ways of going about this, and sometimes we feel like we're the only ones experience all these crazy emotions that you get from trading the stock markets. But alrighty, y'all, I'll leave you with that. Thank you for tuning in. Again, leave some comments if you want to see anything specific or if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys on the next recap. Peace out.